Hello and welcome back to the Patient First Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bryan Laskin. And oh man, am I excited to be here. I'm excited that you're here. This is the first time that I've done a solo podcast in a long time. Why? It's now 2025. And frankly, we had so much that we've been doing at Toothapps in 2024. We took all of your amazing feedback, our customers' feedback I've gotten from the podcast, some roundtables that we've done, and we've created what is by far the best platform in dentistry that, frankly, I don't understand why you wouldn't use it, but we've been hard at work at that in 2024. While we've been doing that, I've been talking with people in the industry, and what's happened since we've been doing these solo podcasts is that a lot of people in the industry have co-opted some of the messaging that we use, which is great because we believe strongly connected dentistry, the problems that we're solving, the major problem of interoperability, I think is the biggest problem in dentistry, as detailed out in my book, Dental Disorder, which it's resonated. Let me put it that way. So today, in the first solo podcast I'm going to be doing for a while, I'm going to talk about and try to dispel some dental software myths that are out there, because I'm seeing some rampant of these pervasiveness of these dental software myths being propagated within the industry. Number one myth is this concept of all-in-one. Pretty much every software company, in fact, there was a credit card processing company that I saw that they are an all-in-one solution. If they require an integration to do anything, it is not all-in-one. What they're really saying is, once you get into our platform, we don't want you to leave, so we are putting you all in one prison. That is why, my friends, that I predicted this in January 2024, and again, I'm making it right now, that 2025 is going to be the year of connected dentistry, because everybody wants their systems to just work together. They don't necessarily. Now, we have a solution coming in just a little bit. That's not going to be all in one. It's going to be better. It's going to be what people want. And we spent, like I said, the last year really listening to people and how everybody wants to consolidate and save. And we have gotten our plans and we are ready to go. But as of the recording of this podcast, we're not quite ready to pull back the curtain. We're getting close, but we're not quite there. Next month in February, whenever this podcast releases, at the Chicago Midwinter, we're going to be ripping the curtain off and showing you what consolidated dentistry really means. What people look for all-in-one, what they're really looking for. So we're going to start off with our new connected dentistry plan that we're unveiling at the Chicago Midwinter. And over the course of the next several months, we're just going to be transforming what software means in dentistry. And so that's really why I want to talk about this, because again, if there's two plans that connect together that say they're both all in one, guess what? They are not. And that usually means that they're bad at something or maybe everything, right? And again, it means that there's one data prison that's typically bad at a lot of things that they're trying to suck you into and then see if you can get out. Now, what connected dentistry really flips this on its head by giving you everything that you need for way less than what you pay now. And you can use any system completely open as long as they don't break federal law or break state laws, or you have sketchy business practices, which you can read about, again, in Dental Disorder, because there's a lot of companies in dentistry that don't realize what the P stands for in HIPAA, or they don't realize what it actually means to have audit trails or things that are required by law that put you at risk. As stewards of your patient's data, you're putting yourself at risk if you use solutions that have sketchy business practices, which unfortunately is pervasive within dentistry. So you don't have to meaninglessly and endlessly search around for websites and payments and reminders and forms, compliance issues, and giving your patients an application or running your practice from your phone. That should all come together for one low price without paying for a bunch of BS that you don't need. By the way, why is software so expensive in dentistry? Usually it's because the software company has raised a bunch of money, hired a bunch of salespeople, so they have this massive overhead that they somehow have to show positive growth of profitability. And the way they do that is by charging you for stuff you don't need, right? Again, it's a myth in dentistry that everything should be all in one. Another myth: you need weeks of training to use software in dentistry. Why? What was the last application you downloaded for your phone? Did you go through weeks of training to use it? No. The reason why you need weeks of training is because the software company has created a platform that sucks to use. Plain and simple. If you can't figure out what to do, but you're using QuickBooks, you're using ChatGPT, the issue is on the development company that's developed that software. That means obviously maybe you need to know a feature or something with which they should have a tutorial that makes it easy. But why would you need weeks of training to use a software? Have you not used software before? Did you need weeks of training for that? No. But the bar is so low in dentistry that people don't develop systems to use in dentistry. Why is that? Because they don't know how to practice dentistry. Ask your software company that you're talking to, how many dentists, how many hygienists, how many assistants, what percentage of your team built a successful dental practice? If the answer is less than 20%, move on. Because how are they going to build you a tool to make your practice better if they don't know how to develop a better practice? They don't. So what do? They put a bunch of features in there thinking, I am a software person. I'm just going to throw a bunch of crap in there and the dentist will pay me a lot of money. No, you shouldn't need weeks of training to use your software. Number 3, you need to worry about if it integrates with your practice management software. That is a problem in the industry that needs to be broken apart. And that's what Toothapps does. We connect to any system. So it doesn't matter if that system has an integration with your practice management software. They have to communicate. And we've built that connection. We've actually written the standards of how that communication happens. So if you run into an issue that you want to work with a software company and it doesn't integrate with your practice management software, let us know. We can handle it. We can connect to anything as long as they don't have sketchy business practices. Plain and simple. And again, we were on the teams that write the standards to make this stuff happen. Number 4, I touched on a little bit, but looking at software to solve a problem in your practice from people that have never run a practice. Do you want to work with a financial planner that doesn't do financial planning? No. You want to have a financial planner that's been massively successful with their financial planning, right? Would you want a builder that's never built a house? No. So why are there so many software companies who don't know how to solve problems for dental practice or haven't grown dental practices? Why are there? Here's why. Take, for example, websites. If you're a website builder and you know how to create a WordPress website, you can go out and start selling websites. Who are you going to sell websites to? If you sell websites to hairdressers, you can do that. If you can sell websites to car dealerships, you can do that. Or you could sell websites to dentists. So why do people end up making dental website companies? Usually it's because they have a family member who was in dentistry. Does that make sense? For them, it does, because they realize that there's disposable income and dental websites cost more than donut shops that pay for websites. So if I can make the same website for a donut shop and get paid $9 a month, or I can make the same website for dental practice and charge $99 a month, which one am I going to do? Pretty easy math to do. And that's how most software is written in dentistry. People see an opportunity to oversell or charge you more for technology that would cost less in other industries, and frankly, make it harder to use because they don't have to invest in the development. That is a myth. So look for solutions that were developed by people that know how to grow dental practices. Because guess what? They're going to remove the barriers in your practice because they understand how a dental practice should run. Plain and simple. Number 5, thinking that software companies are all working hard to develop software. Unfortunately, that is a myth. As somebody who sold technology to other companies, what happens a lot of times is that there is somebody who creates a software platform. It gets sold to somebody who's really looking to just aggregate software platforms and resell them and not develop new software. So if you're talking to a software company, you could ask them, how many developers are working on this particular topic, or this particular product, versus salespeople? Most people, it'll be, I'd say probably 100 to 100 salespeople for each developer, right? That's that number. That means that they're not going to be innovating to the way that I would expect. Listening to your concerns. Do people, when you say to your software company, I'd like to see this improvement, do they listen to you and give you feedback and then say, ooh, that's a great idea. We'll put that in the queue and this will get done in the next several months? Or say, here's why we don't think that is a good idea. If they can't do that, change your software vendor. Plain and simple. Number 6, another software myth, that running my practice from my phone is impossible. It's only impossible with their software. Who designs software to be mobile friendly? Good developers. And that's not that common in dentistry. So if you want to run your practice from your phone, let us know. We can give you a demo. And number 7, my 7th myth of dental software, within dental software, is that artificial intelligence is for reading x-rays. It is not. It can be. That's one thing it can do. But artificial intelligence is being used to tell you the next thing to watch on Netflix. It's being used in everything we do. And I would argue that there are some really great opportunities, like telling you whether that patient is going to show up for their appointment. What's the probability that James Brown is going to show up for his appointment at 2 o'clock? Because my gut tells me he ain't showing up. But if it says in your calendar, James Smith has a 19% chance of showing up, then you have hard data to actually make a lot of good decisions with, or automate different AI workflows to increase the probability that James is going to show up for his appointment. So there's a lot of different ways that AI can be leveraged to grow your practice by people that know how to run practices, not just for colorizing an x-ray, which again, that can be very useful, but AI is just not for that. So again, I'll go through my list 1 through 7 very quickly, just to recap. Number 1, the myth of all-in-one. When you see all-in-one from a dental software company, press them on it. What do you mean by all-in-one? What do you mean? Because what they really mean is we don't want you to go anywhere else to do anything, which usually means their product sucks and they're locking you in. Number 2, you should have weeks of training to use your dental software. If you need weeks of training, it means they haven't thought it through. Number 3, you need to worry about if a software company's platform integrates with your PMS. Today, this year, 2025, everything can work together as long as they don't break the law through Toothapps. Number 4, software was written to solve a problem in my practice. Most people who write software in dentistry don't know how to run a practice, so they can't solve your problem. Number 5, software companies work hard to develop software. Myth, the fact is they're working hard to sell you software and make a profit. Number 6, running my practice from my phone is not possible. Let us know if you think that's the case and you want to run your practices, your entire organization from your pocket. And number 7, AI is only for reading x-rays. Not at all. There's so much more that AI can do to automate, to replace laborious, mundane, basically dumb tasks that humans should not be doing, freeing up your patients, freeing up your team to do what they do best, which is seeing patients. I hope you're having a phenomenal beginning to the year, and I look forward to doing many more podcasts in 2025 and hopefully seeing you sometime this year. Take care.